All right, the Archangel here is the first battle optic that Monstrum's ever made. I haven't double checked this, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, they've even changed their box. Look at this thing. That is a gnarly piece of aluminum. Holy cow. Now, I saw the prototype for this thing a while ago, and I knew right then and there when this thing came out, I was going to get one. I made all sorts of predictions on what this thing was going to be, and half of them were wrong, okay? I can say now with confidence that pretty much what it appears they have done is taken a Panzer, my favorite throwaway scope, and they have put it into this new housing. And that is actually a pretty awesome freaking idea. If you can get past the fact that this thing's a little bit heavy, which I think is awesome for a training rifle, right? It's phenomenal. Like, I just don't see how this is going to break from an external force, right? This thing is so solid. I feel like I could club somebody with this thing. Nothing bends, nothing moves, nothing rattles. This thing is solid, okay? Some of the important specs here, we have ED glass, so that has definitely been something awesome that Monstrum has done. They have upgraded their glass. Again, that's part of the reason why I do like the Panzer so much, is that ED glass is absolutely fantastic, and they're not charging ED glass prices for it. So that alone, that upgrade alone, has really caught Monstrum up to other name brands. On top of that, they have some reworked cap turrets. Pretty cool. The internals feel about the same as the Panzer. Really no complaints there. This isn't an optic that you're going to be dialing in. You're gonna zero this thing. This is a 1 through 6 times magnification. You're gonna zero this thing, set it and forget it, right? It's not like their new Challenger scope that I have over here, where I do got to give them props. Their turrets are completely redone. The internals of them, yeah, that sounds and feels awesome. Because obviously this Challenger, this is a scope where you would actually dial this thing in. Not so much with these. These are fixed at 100 yards parallax. The brightness on this, I keep this thing on like 3 or 4. It's so bright, I can look at this light and I can still see red. And that's without turning it all the way up to 6. They have gotten rid of the dual LED color, so obviously some of their older optics would have a green or a red. Well, you don't get that anymore. You pick one or the other. I don't think green's out yet. This one's in red. Aside from that, right, we have a reworked reticle. They've done a lot here with these. Mine is the mill version. They also have a MOA here. You see the Christmas tree that you get, right? There's my Christmas tree. What's really cool is on the 1X, you get this donut of death. And as you zoom into the 6X, this donut disappears and this tree appears. I'm pretty sure you can tell how that works. Very smart. One of the issues that these older optics had was your dot, your X, it would disappear. It would be so small when you're in 1X. 1X is the most important setting for these optics. Ask anybody with a 1 through 6. You're gonna be using the 1X for the most part to do a lot of your shooting. It is nice to be able to zoom in, threat identification, stuff like that. But typically, you're gonna be doing most of your wet work in the 1X. So having a donut of death that then disappears when you zoom in, it's a pretty big upgrade. It's going to be hard for your dot to disappear when you have this ring around it. Works very well, especially with how bright these things are now. They really are bright on another level. Very cool. And then, of course, we have, you know, mil or MOA. And they do have some other options in here. They have not released all of these yet. I don't think so. All right, here's a pretty good example of how this ring works. As you zoom in, the ring gets bigger and then it just disappears, and you have your actual crosshairs here. So another cool thing, from getting this 1 through 6, I can see right here that they are going to be making a 1 through 10. Of course, why wouldn't they? The Panzer goes 1 through 10, so why wouldn't this? I'm all for it. I am here for it. The only downside to this is obviously you're not going to be able to put this on a scope switch. Would be really cool. Let's just kind of hold them up so you can kind of see. They're about the same size, right? And I expect the 1 through 10X to be just a little bit longer. So this is a Panzer in a new shell, and I think that's awesome. This thing is just so beefy and tanky, right? You have a rail here to put whatever. I don't know why they did this. They probably could have taken this off. What's the point of putting a red dot here when you have an amazing 1X? The Panzer has an amazing 1X. They have really built this LPVO around a very solid 1X. Moondog Industries compared a Panzer to like a $800-900 Vortex scope, and the Panzer actually had a better 1X. The Vortex had a better 10X, but again, you're doing most of your work in that 1X variety. So there's that, and this thing comes with this mount, right? It's on here rock solid. We have 3 bolts, and we have 4 traction bars. So this thing is not going to be moving around. And what's cool about this, it makes for an awesome backup optic, right? If you're in the field and something happens, you can tear your scope off and you can replace it with this, okay? Because this has a mount attached to it, you don't have to level anything. You don't have to mess around with anything. You can pretty much just pull one of these out of the bag, slap it onto your rifle, tighten it up, and you should be fairly good to go. So these make for an awesome backup optic. They make for an awesome training optic. You know, if you don't mind the little bit of extra weight, and I personally think that a training rifle should weigh more, and why not get all the tankiness and the durability along with that? So I'm happy I got this thing, even though I don't need any more optics, but I swore when I saw this thing that I would get one when they finally dropped. And man, this thing did not disappoint. It looks really good. The glass is really clear, just like I would expect. So it's good to know that they're going to be making a 1 through 10. I'm going to buy that one too. I ain't even going to lie. I'm still going to use my Panzers for my scope switch. That's still happening. They're just 99% compatible. I have to do a little bit of grinding, but that's not an issue because Monstrum scopes are like $200. Yes, that's right. You heard it. Another reason why I got this was as soon as Monstrum launches a new product like this, they will give you like a 25% discount. So I think I got this thing for like $1.60. So yeah, as soon as they launch the 1 through 10, I'm going to be checking my mailbox. I'm definitely going to snatch one of those up at that 20% off. And yeah, that's happening. So let me know what you think. This is something different. They look pretty damn cool. And they are solid. These things are solid. Again, I don't see anything breaking this from an external source, okay? I'm going to be slapping this thing on a 308 and getting some round count on it because, I mean, I just got to make sure that it can hold up to the vibration of like a 308 rifle. Yo, if the Panzers can do it, right, I think this thing's going to be more than solid. This might just be that one optic of the year that doesn't cost much and is super durable and tanky. And I think that's pretty cool. We need stuff like that. I could see people making this their default optic. Man, it just looks good and it feels good. So I know it's not for everybody. There's a lot of people that count every gram, every ounce, but this thing's definitely for me, and I can't wait to get the other one. Comments are open. Let me know if I missed anything, and I'll see you at the range. Later.